Welcome to the Aro Benaiah Show. Today I'm joined by Rick Tracewell, a long-time solo business owner and author of The Uncomfortable Comfort Zone. Rick helped overwhelming business owner understand why staying busy doesn't always lead to progress and how small realistic shifts can bring clarity without guilt or hustle culture. It's really a pleasure having you on the show.
Great, thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, thank you. So Rick, what was it like growing up?
What was it like growing up? I didn't know we were going that far back.
Okay, I noticed most entrepreneurs starting out, there's a earlier bit of traits that shows for that entrepreneurship is either learned from the family or the source of one, and it grew from there. And that's the reason why I'm going as far.
Well, I mean, every entrepreneur that I've met, I'm in marketing, so I deal with a lot of
Yeah,
entrepreneurs, and every it seems like every entrepreneur has their own origin story. You know how they
yeah,
started out, and mine I have found is fairly common. I'm a guy who's ADD, so I'm all over the place. And I just make a really bad employee. So I've always been creative, so under this marketing umbrella, I'm able to do, video editing, video shooting, photography, web design, logos. I mean, you name it. So
amazing.
yeah. So growing up, I was kind of that guy.
Yeah, wow, amazing. So Rick, you have actually spent your years working hard, yet feeling like progress wasn't matching the effort. What did that season really feel like?
Yeah, that's another one that because of my own experience, I slowly found that others in my position, meaning solopreneur or one or two person operation kind of a thing, that a lot of people have been going through it, and I thought it was just me, right? So, but like I said, I ended up finding out that more and more people that I met, and after we got to know each other, I found that I was not the only one. So I found myself, and I still occasionally find myself in a position where it may be something that I'm not real familiar with, or not confident in, or not educated in, certain, like, whether it's finance or, that kind of a thing. I end up, it's like an automatic thing. I end up digging in and working harder, but it's not really fixing it.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So you actually coined the phrase the uncomfortable comfort zone. What does that mean in simple terms?
Well, so yeah, I've actually used that phrase for, I don't know, 20 or 30 years, just within myself, in my own. I mean, I shared it with a few people, but not a lot. And essentially, what I mean by that is being in a place where you're comfortable only in that you know what to expect. So you're in a place where you've been before, and then it's uncomfortable overall because you're not doing what you should be doing, or you're not fulfilling and working in the areas that deep down you should be working in. So that's why it's the uncomfortable comfort zone, because you know what to expect because you've been there before, but it's not getting you where you want to be, or where you want your business to be.
Oh, wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for the explanation.
Yeah.
So why do so many capable business owner and are still stuck without doing anything wrong?
I think, I can only speak for myself and the
Yeah,
few people that I've talked to, but I think it's pretty common. I think a lot of it is because when you're a solo business owner, there's nobody standing behind you and tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, you really shouldn't be doing that. You should be working on this." We don't have that. We're the owners. We're the only person there. So we have nobody that we are held accountable to. So, and it's easy to, in your own business, to just go la 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 la,
yeah.
and just ignore what you should be doing, but we're not comfortable with it. So we, put our head down and work harder, thinking that that's going to fix it, but it really does not fix it at all.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. I think you just speak a whole lot of volume, being that a whole lot of solopreneur. They don't take order from anyone. They don't have mentors. Some of them just do it alone and they just speak volumes to it. So from your experience, what is the difference between being busy and actually moving forward?
The difference, like I was saying, is that if you're not moving forward for whatever reason, like, my book is not specific to any one person's situation because there's just too many different situations. Everybody has different businesses and different experiences and all that stuff. So in a general way, I kind of point out in the book, I point out things that maybe the person reading it might not have really identified before, maybe not have put a name to it before, but they'll recognize it. And so in the book, at the end of each chapter, I just give a couple of, it's not a homework assignment. This is all, this is not a thing that has a workbook and you're supposed to
Yeah.
follow me. It's not like that. It's more of a, at the end of a chapter, I'll say, ask yourself this question. And it's really just a kind of an exercise where they ask themselves that question and then they go, oh, okay, so that might be it. So hopefully the awareness of the situation that they're in, and each chapter is different. Nobody has to read this book cover to cover if they don't want to. They may recognize their situation in chapter 2 and 6 or something, but whichever one they recognize, if they are aware and they see what they've been doing, hopefully they start to move forward and not go backward. That's what I hope.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Why does our familiar frustration often feel safer than making a change?
I think people get into, for lack of a better term, they get into a rut and it's a familiar place. So they kind of go through the motions and they know to other people, it looks like they're really busy because they are.
Yeah.
And so it looks like, they're just, boy, look at what a hard worker Rick is, that kind of thing. But deep down, most people don't tell other people about it because again, we're the owner. There's really nobody else to say this to. So we work really hard, but in reality, it's just not on the right things. So we may sit there and empty garbage cans and answer emails and we think that we're staying busy. And so that must be what we're supposed to do. But there are areas of your business that you really need to work on. The one chapter in the book that I actually deal with a lot with my clients over the years is one way to look at your business. If you're a solopreneur or a small business owner with a couple people working for you, one way to look at your business that might help people in this situation is to look at it in the way that pretending that if you have to step away from your business for a couple of weeks, not a family emergency or a vacation, but just for whatever reason you have to step away from your business, what happens to it? And a lot of people in my shoes will say, well, the business just stops.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and if that's the case, you technically in the business world, you really don't have a business. You just have a job for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So setting up procedures and regular things so that anybody else could step in and keep your business going for you for a little while, that really will help to see the areas that you need to work on.
Yeah, amazing. I think it's very key, especially when you just make reference of the fact that solo entrepreneurs most times they'll do things, render service or sell things on their own or without having any team or any kind of structures. Neither are they planning it because day in and out they keep busying themselves with what the service entails and nothing about structures. And once they leave, the business dies and they just speak volume. So what are some clear sign a business owner is in a survival mode rather than growth mode?
I would say and that's why I wrote the book this way, if they recognize themselves in any part of the book and it kind of makes them go, ooh, like it's a little uncomfortable, that's probably a sign that they need to step forward a little bit, and I do let people know right from the beginning that if they're reading the book, number one, it's a big tell that they are looking for answers. They're looking to move their business forward, So, and I also let them know that the fact that they started a business and they are a business owner, that shows that they have strength. They can do hard things. They can move in directions that a lot of people, being a business owner is not for everyone. So they've already proven that they can do difficult things. So this is just another area, having to kind of fill the holes in the areas where they may not be as comfortable with or knowledgeable with. So I try to make them understand that I'm not talking down to anybody. That's certainly not my place. It's more of a, hey, look, you've done this hard thing before. Now it's just another level. That's it. It's not super difficult to just take tiny steps forward and hopefully it snowballs and they turn it into what they really want it to be.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I think from what you just said, our structure is very important for solo entrepreneurs, if only they actually want to kind of grow the business and make it big. Being that if there is no structures, yeah, clearly it's still on survival mode. Being that just a little things happening to the owner, the business is down.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
amazing. So you emphasize clarity over motivation. Why is clarity so powerful?
I think clarity is, I mean, I hate to keep saying this, but it's different for everybody. But I think from my experience, from my own experience doing this to myself, as well as talking with other small business owners that have been in similar situations, clarity is sometimes just a way, like I said, to give you the awareness in a way that if you're honest with yourself, and as I said, if you picked up the book at all and you're looking at it, there's clearly some desire to do something different, right? And you're seeking answers. So having awareness and the clarity of the situation that you're in, and the fact that, because some people don't realize the fact that you're not alone, that other people find themselves in the same situation, and just little ideas of how you can step out of it and move forward a little bit. Everybody's going to have a different path naturally. And because I don't get into specifics, at the end of the book, I have a whole section on books that I recommend, small business books, business owner books that are more specific. One of them is about financing, and one of them is about marketing, and one of them, that kind of thing. And there's little descriptions of each book. These are the ones that I'm aware of, and they can choose which one seems like it's going to help them the most. And then I give a list of podcasts. I give a list of YouTube channels. There's so many great YouTube channels now. So it's a way for them to get a little more granular, like a little more dialed into what they need specifically and what speaks to them. So that's kind of what I think awareness and that kind of thing with what you were asking. I think that's what helps, is that if you're very aware of what you've been doing, hopefully you'll have a harder time slipping back into it.
Yeah, so true, so true. I think it's just the way you explained. I think what even easily make a whole lot of our solo entrepreneurs stay stuck in what they do is the fact that sometimes they have engagement or true. They have little jobs that come handy, and that little job just make answers to it. It blur their visions that they couldn't even see beyond what that day to day means. So they are not seeing structures, being that as much as the business look as though it's growing, which is not, at least they are seeing a stipends every month that are almost equivalent to being employed. So that just stops the reality of looking deeper, or actually more like building in something which is sustainable. Yeah, and that's really amazing.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's, people got into business one way or another and they made it. They started a business, and so it may not become exactly what they envisioned it to be, but the good news is that they're in charge. They can make the changes to make it how they want it to be or what they envisioned originally. So it's just a matter of kind of, again, we all wish sometimes we had somebody standing behind us, going, hey, get moving in that direction. You know what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes, we have to figure out how to do that for ourselves.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. So why do you believe that people don't need complex system or big overhaul to move forward?
I mean, again, it's not specific to anyone, but there's little steps in business ownership. There's little steps that can really change the way your business is run. I certainly, and this book certainly does not recommend that they go get a loan or borrow money from somebody or change their logo or change all their, the name of their business. And, it's really, some of them might feel they need to do that, and that's up to them. But that's not the focus of this book. It's not telling you, hey, you're doing this wrong. It's not doing that. And it's also not telling you what you have to do. You'll figure it out for yourself. Anybody who started a business, and again, they're reaching out and picking up a book like this, they're going to be able to make these little adjustments. It's not going to happen overnight, So making little adjustments here and there and keeping keeping the momentum going, it can pick up pretty quick. And once you start feeling good about the way your business is going and you're starting to make more money and you
Yeah.
have more time to spend with friends and family and for yourself and things like that, it really does, it changes your whole perspective. You know, it really invigorates you. It gives you energy.
Yeah, so true, so true. Amazing. Well, thanks for sharing. So for someone listening right now who feels tired but not born out enough to quit, what would you say to them?
I would just say, you know, I don't want to say read the book, but for the stuff that I came up with, that's what I would say. Mainly because, again, if they want to get out of the rut that they're in or the uncomfortable comfort zone that they're in or being, you know, the feeling of being stuck, not making progress or things aren't the way they wished they would be or hoped they would be or envisioned them to be originally, the only way to start getting out of that is to stop doing the same things you've been doing. I mean, that's pretty common. We all do that. And try some different things and try looking into, and that's really what the book does. It just suggests, hey, you might want to look at this area. And if this sounds like you, then maybe you want to, you know, do a couple of
Yeah,
things about it. It's kind of like that. It's really more of a, you know, an encouraging thing to look into different areas, because everybody needs a kick in the butt every once in a while. You know, we all do.
yeah, so true. Everyone need a kick in the butt. Yeah, thank you. So, for my audience who want to reach out to you, Rick, and connect with you and to learn more from you and to order your book too, where can they reach out and where is the best platform?
It, like everything else, Amazon books, you know, you can get it there. It's also the audiobook. The English version of the audiobook for that is for this book is on Audible, and I think you can get it through Amazon as well. It's the same company. And if anybody wants to look into the book a little further just to see if it's for them, I put a website together. I'm a marketing guy. They can go to either uncomfortablecomfortzone.com. That's kind of long. They can also get there by going to UCZ, Uncomfortable Comfort Zone, UCZbook.com. And they can send me a message through there. They can contact me. They can ask me questions if they have any questions about it. And it gives you a little more of an idea of what the book's about. And it's a super easy read. It's 49 pages total. And again, they don't have to read it, you know,
Yeah,
front to back. They can look at a few things and put it down, pick it up when they're waiting for a client or you know, when they're having lunch, whatever. It's not a difficult read.
yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Rick. And thank you for sharing insight on how small business could actually do business differently. Yeah, it's really amazing. And yeah, thanks for being on the show.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you and your listeners. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you for bringing out such honesty and clarity to this conversation. For listeners who feel busy but stuck, Rick book is The Uncomfortable Comfort Zone, and the link to get it is going to be on the show notes. Until next time, keep building with intention. This is Aro Benaiah Show. Once again, it's a pleasure and honor. Have you on the show, Rick.
Thank you very much.